The winter chill had settled over London, shrouding the city in a blanket of frost. The streets were decorated with festive lights, and the air was thick with the scent of roasted chestnuts and pine. Yet, beneath the veneer of holiday cheer, a profound unease gripped the hearts of many. It was Christmas Eve, 1895, and within the cozy confines of 221B, Baker Street, a mystery was about to unfold that would test the mettle of the great detective, Sherlock Holmes, in ways he had never anticipated. Dr. John Watson sat by the fireplace, a steaming cup of tea in hand, as he observed his friend and companion, Sherlock Holmes, who was deep in thought, his sharp eyes focused on the crackling flames. Holmes had been unusually quiet that evening, his mind clearly occupied by something beyond the ordinary. "Holmes, are you quite all right?" Watson asked, breaking the silence. Holmes glanced up, his expression inscrutable. "I am, Watson, merely contemplating the nature of Christmas and its peculiar hold on the collective consciousness." Before Watson could respond, a sudden knock at the door shattered the stillness. Mrs. Hudson, their landlady, appeared a moment later, her face pale and eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe. "Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, there's a visitor here to see you." "A most unusual visitor," she stammered. Holmes and Watson exchanged a curious glance before rising to meet their mysterious caller. As they entered the sitting room, they were met with a sight that defied all reason and logic. Standing before them was a figure bathed in a soft, ethereal light. It was a woman of unearthly beauty, her flowing gown shimmering like the stars, and her eyes radiating a serene wisdom that seemed to pierce the very soul. "Good evening, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson," she said in a voice that was both gentle and commanding. "I am Gabriel, an angel of the Lord. I have come to seek your aid in a matter of grave importance." Holmes, ever the skeptic, raised an eyebrow but remained silent, allowing the celestial visitor to continue. "Christmas, the celebration of the birth of Christ, has been overshadowed by the forces of greed and materialism," Gabriel explained. "The true meaning of this holy day is being lost, and the spirit of giving and love is being corrupted by those who seek to profit from it. You, Mr. Holmes, possess a unique intellect and a heart capable of great compassion. I implore you to take on this case and restore the true essence of Christmas." Holmes regarded Gabriel with a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. "An intriguing proposition, madam. Yet, I am but a man, bound by the laws of logic and reason. How am I to confront forces that are seemingly beyond my understanding?" Gabriel smiled, her radiance undiminished. "You are not alone in this endeavor, Mr. Holmes. You will have allies, both mortal and divine. Trust in your instincts, and you will find the path to the truth." With that, Gabriel vanished, leaving Holmes and Watson in stunned silence. "Well, Holmes," Watson finally said, breaking the spell, "it appears we have our work cut out for us." Holmes nodded, his mind already racing with possibilities. "Indeed, Watson. It seems we must delve into the very heart of Christmas to uncover the truth and save it from those who would pervert its meaning." And so, with renewed purpose, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson set out on a journey that would take them to the very edge of their understanding and challenge their perceptions of the world around them. The following morning, Holmes and Watson began their investigation by visiting the bustling marketplaces and grand department stores of London. It was here, amidst the glittering displays and eager shoppers, that the insidious influence of a nefarious plot was most evident. Christmas had become a commercial juggernaut, with merchants hawking their wares and consumers driven to frenzy by the lure of discounts and limited-time offers. As they wandered through the throngs of people, Holmes's keen eyes noted the subtle ways in which the spirit of Christmas had been manipulated for profit. The once simple traditions of gift-giving and charity had been transformed into opportunities for exploitation, with advertisements promising happiness and fulfillment through the purchase of material goods. "Watson, observe how the essence of Christmas has been distorted," Holmes remarked, his voice tinged with a rare hint of sadness. "The joy of giving has been replaced by the compulsion to buy, and the spirit of goodwill has been subjugated to the demands of commerce." Watson nodded, his own heart heavy with the realization. "But how do we combat such a pervasive and deeply entrenched force, Holmes? The very fabric of society seems to have been altered." Holmes's eyes gleamed with determination. "We must find the source, Watson. the individuals or entities that have orchestrated this shift. Only by identifying the architects of this perversion can we hope to restore the true meaning of Christmas. Their first lead came in the form of an anonymous letter delivered to 221B, Baker Street later that day. The letter, written in a flowing script, hinted at a clandestine meeting of powerful government agents who had conspired to replace the Christian meaning of Christmas with a state-controlled celebration devoid of religious significance. The meeting was to take place that very night, in a secluded mansion on the outskirts of London. With little time to lose, Holmes and Watson donned their disguises and made their way to the appointed location. The mansion, a sprawling estate surrounded by high walls and guarded gates, exuded an air of opulence and secrecy. Using their considerable skills in subterfuge, Holmes and Watson managed to infiltrate the gathering, blending in with the well-dressed attendees who sipped champagne and discussed their latest schemes. It was here, in the grand ballroom, that they overheard a conversation that confirmed their worst suspicions. A group of influential government agents, led by a man named Harold Whitfield, were discussing their plans to further entrench the state's control over Christmas. Whitfield, a shrewd and calculating figure, spoke with an air of authority as he outlined their strategy. "We must ensure that Christmas remains a time of state-sponsored activities and propaganda," Whitfield declared. "Our control over public sentiment depends on it. We will continue to erode the religious aspects of the holiday, replacing them with secular celebrations that promote loyalty to the state above all else." Holmes listened intently, his mind working to piece together the evidence. "This Whitfield is our man, Watson," he whispered. "We must find a way to expose his machinations and return Christmas to its true purpose." As the meeting concluded and the guests began to disperse, Holmes and Watson quietly slipped away, their minds racing with plans and strategies. They knew that bringing down Whitfield and his cohorts would require a delicate balance of cunning and courage. Over the next few days, Holmes and Watson worked tirelessly to gather evidence against Whitfield and his associates. They interviewed disgruntled employees, followed paper trails of financial transactions, and uncovered secret communications that revealed the extent of the conspiracy. Each piece of evidence brought them closer to the truth, and with it, the hope of reclaiming Christmas from the clutches of state control. As Christmas Eve approached, Holmes and Watson devised a plan to expose Whitfield's schemes to the public. They arranged for a special edition of the Times to be published, containing a detailed exposé of the conspiracy, complete with incontrovertible evidence. The article would be distributed on Christmas morning, ensuring that the truth reached the widest possible audience. On the night before Christmas, as the city of London prepared to celebrate, Holmes and Watson watched from a distance as the printing presses of the Times worked tirelessly to produce the damning report. The culmination of their efforts was at hand, and they could only hope that the public would respond with the outrage and resolve necessary to reclaim the true spirit of Christmas. As dawn broke on Christmas morning, the streets of London were filled with the sound of newsboys shouting the headline, "Christmas Conspiracy Expose. State Plot Unveiled." The reaction was swift and overwhelming. People from all walks of life, shocked and angered by the revelations, demanded accountability and change. Whitfield and his associates were quickly arrested and brought to trial, their reputations and power crumbling under the weight of public scrutiny. In the aftermath, there was a renewed sense of purpose and determination among the people of London. They vowed to honor the true meaning of Christmas, embracing the values of love, charity, and compassion that had been overshadowed for far too long. As Holmes and Watson stood by the fireplace of 221B, Baker Street that evening, reflecting on their adventure, a soft, familiar glow filled the room. Gabriel appeared once more, her radiant smile conveying a deep gratitude. "You have done well, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson," she said. "Through your courage and dedication, you have helped restore the true essence of Christmas. May the spirit of this holy day guide you always." With that, Gabriel vanished, leaving Holmes and Watson to savor their victory and the knowledge that they had made a profound difference. "Holmes, do you believe that we truly saved Christmas?" Watson asked, his voice filled with wonder. Holmes smiled, his eyes twinkling with a rare warmth. "I believe, Watson, that we have reminded the world of what Christmas truly means. And in doing so, we have indeed saved it." And so, as the City of London celebrated the most meaningful Christmas in recent memory, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson took a moment to revel in the simple joy of friendship and the enduring power of the human spirit.